So much of succeeding in life is getting yourself or training yourself to do the things that you know you have to do, even when you don't feel like doing them. We all love to do the easy and the stuff that we love. No one likes knocking on doors. No one likes dialing on the darn phone. No one likes getting. I don't like rejection, but I eat it for breakfast. I don't like it, but it makes me stronger.
And so if you were going to talk to a brand new agent today, what would be the one bit of advice that you would give them from your experience?
I would develop whatever metric makes sense for the type of insurance that you're selling and whatever lead source that you're giving them you have to get them into the habit of dialing or outreach. It's got to be top of the funnel. Mm-hmm. People are scared to dial the phone, scared to go to whatever the reason things are doing, whatever method you're using, whether it's incoming leads and calling them back. I mean, that is, here's what happens. As soon as you stop prospecting, you start wringing the towel dry on your existing pipeline. And that's when you start trying to turn no's into yeses. When you start trying to take every person, because there's no one left to speak to, so you just spend so much time hoping you get that person that's really not right for it. You're trying to shove a square peg in a round hole versus continuing every single day, allotting X number of hours, whatever amount that block makes sense for what you're doing, and just get them and it's got to be not like broken with a block of time. You start and you just do that outbound prospecting. That's the ticket. I mean, and unless they do that, there's no shortcut for that. There's just no. We created all these top producers by sheer cold calling numbers. I do even like I recruit for like the toughest one of the companies I have to recruit for. We do it for everything: insurance, door-to-door sales. The worst company, great, wonderful company, but the hardest. We're going Moxie Pest Control, door-to-door sales and pest control. No one wants that job, right? Mm-hmm. And yet we recruit, we persevere. These kids are knocking on hundreds of doors a day and getting 3 yeses, and now life is made on that. But if they can do that, they can master the art of doing that. That's the kid. That's like that. Talk about the plumber's license. Like it's that ability. It's can you get yourself? I didn't say it up there today, but one of the big things I always instill in young people is that. I hate to say that because I still feel young, but is that so much of succeeding in life is getting yourself or training yourself to do the things that you know you have to do, even when you don't feel like doing them. We all love to do the easy and the stuff that we love. No one likes knocking on doors. No one likes dialing on the darn phone. No one likes getting. I don't like rejection, but I eat it for breakfast. I don't like it, but it makes me stronger. I learned over the years I started off as a door-to-door salesman. My first job was door-to-door. Real sales was door-to-door. And I remember this one night that came to define who I was as a salesperson I went all day. And I was already the top producer in the industry. I was already breaking records right from the start. And it's like maybe a month into it, and I just had this terrible day, dry. I was selling meat and seafood. No one wanted the food. Door after door. It was the winter in New York. It's freezing, it's raining, I'm shivering to death, it's dark out, and I'm still knocking on doors. My knuckles are bleeding, I said, I am not gonna stop until I make a sale, at least one sale, all right? Finally, like 7 o'clock at night, I knock on some door, I'm soaking like a puppy dog who's wet, right? Like I was 20 at the time, 21 years old, I was 12, right? And some woman opens the door, she's like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm my name, she's right, just come inside and try out, I'll be back in a second. And I'm in this like multi-million-dollar mansion back there, and she leaves me there by myself. Different generations, right? Down to that. I'm sitting there on like a chair for like 30 minutes. She comes back 30 minutes later. I'm living in this big mansion myself with her daughter who's like in ballet class. She's like, all right, what do you want now? What's this? I said, well, I deliver meat and seafood to you. She said, I don't need meat and fish. I said, listen, I can't get back to that. Fine, just unload it. Took the whole truck from me. A whole entire. She just gave it away, the food. The point is that it just taught me this. Something I'll never forget. Is that no matter how many times people say no to me, it's just one closer to a yes. I almost got to the point where with brokerage, where it was so much like you can actually track it so closely. I have them track their pipeline so close. How many dials do you have to make to get 10 qualified leads? And if you get 10 qualified leads over time and average, how many of those will you close? So we could take a kid and have him dial on the phone 300 times a day to get 10 leads. So you can close, of those 10 a month. If you just close 10 accounts a month, you made $1 million your first year. Just through that. So what would happen is once you established, we knew what those numbers were, I'd say, listen, it doesn't matter whether someone says yes or no. You're getting paid for every dial. They say no, you make $50. Boom, thank you, have a nice day. Because you know your numbers. If you just dial enough phone numbers, you're gonna get, because over time those averages do play out. So when you really know the numbers, I would urge you to track your numbers so you can say to someone, it doesn't matter what any one individual says, you're just playing the numbers game here. If you hit 200 doors, 200 phone calls, you're gonna get over time, one person, what's that, what? So now divide that by the people who said no, you made $10 for every no. It doesn't matter what they say. If the people have the confidence that they can close the yeses when they get them, that's the key. I knew that I could close the yes when I got them.
I'll try to follow up with that. So my question is basically around your sales meetings, very specific. So I've got an agency with about 150 call center agents, half W-2, half 1099, kind of built off the same model of taking people making $50,000, $60,000 a year, trying to make them $100,000 a year, dialing all day. I've been doing it now for a little over 8 years, and I started with daily meetings that turned into weekly, sometimes turned into weekly into monthly, and kind of even advice from me or any agency owner, how do you get out of the same type of, you're saying the same things over and over every day to get better at a sales meeting for those individuals?
I think that you're supposed to say the same things every single day, because people need to hear them again and again. Now, obviously, you could say them in, listen, so every business, every agency has its own personality, and that personality has to reflect the owners, the people in charge of it. My company was a reflection in terms of, like, I had this really strong ability to speak. It was a natural talent I had. So I played on my own talent, which was like motivation, teaching salespeople. So for me, that was like, that was my biggest strength, was that. So I did it all the time. For me, twice a day, every day, never had shit to say. It was just like, and a lot of the stuff I was inventing the straight line as I was doing it. So I was inventing this new way of selling back in the late 80s, right? And what I found is that, so here's the way I run meetings, and I really would strongly suggest that you do this in your meetings, is I never went broad. I always went narrow and deep. The meeting would be about, I want you to be able to say this sentence really well. One sentence. Like, so believe me, you'll be very, very impressed. Sound fair enough? And I literally, torture each person to be able to say one thing really well. Like, how do you mix these tonalities of certainty and sincerity with this reasonable, sound good, Jim? Sound fair enough? And I would get them so skilled up, but I would never just talk about, it would be like, not a broad, it's like, no, I want you to learn this particular thing today and really dig into it. And I had them role playing, more role playing. Man, I run these, I recruit salespeople, 90% of my boot camps is role playing. It's not just, we don't teach them. I have a home study course that they get, that's their homework at night, which is sort of the foundational, the principles and the logic. When they're in class with us, I have facilitators, they are in groups, they are role playing. Tonality, how they sound great, because I'm telling you, that's what wakes up that voice inside these kids, and it makes a huge difference. So you put a trained cold caller next to an untrained one, and it's just night and day. So I focus on massive role playing, and also I always would mix motivation and skill strength together. So it would always be like, I could start off with motivation a little bit, I frame the topic, teach something, and then end with two together again and again and again. And we never, sometimes it would just be feel-good meetings. It was fun. Like, the movie was funny. It was meant that we had fun. We made it into fun. It was made fun of a lot of people, and that was a different time and place. Things you can't do anymore, we used to do, right? A lot of things. But those things were they were the glue that held the sales force together. Everyone making fun of everybody else. It was like a real team spirit, and And it was just, it was just amazing. And you can ask people that worked there, they'll all tell you it was the greatest experience. They loved going to work, So that was it.
Appreciate it.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're gonna love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. JB the Wolf is in the house. Dude, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Pleasure.
8% Nation, we have the Wolf of Wall Street, Mr. Jordan Belfort, in. We're doubling down, right? Because he's gonna be in Vegas with us, but we're doubling down and we got him on virtual.